dedicating his career to making technology and digital experience more inclusive. Since 2000, he has been actively engaged in auditing, consulting, educating organizations to build accessible solutions and to build accessible practices. We are thrilled to have him share his insights today. And we are so glad to have you all participate in this journey in this session. We are glad to have you, Mr. Srinivasulu. Please
Hari
speak a
Om.
few words about your journey so far.
Hari Om. Thank you, Saujanya, and it is a pleasure to be here on this platform and speaking to all the wonderful audience with regards to accessibility in the pharma um, industry space. So like Saujanya said, I have been working in the space of digital accessibility for about 2 decades. This happens to be both my profession and passion. Um, I happen to be one of the very first few people in this country who chose accessibility as a profession. It all started with a kind of a incident. Um, Back in 2000, I used to work for a non-profit organization called the National Association for the Blind, where I used to teach computers to people with vision impairment. During the time, we built a website for the organization, which is looks very good, but cannot be used by our own students with disabilities. That is what has triggered me to start thinking in the area of accessibility. And fast forward, I co-created accessibility in several companies like Yahoo, PayPal, Informatica, HCL Tech, Watermark, and so on. Currently, I'm the director of product accessibility at Freshworks. In addition, I also provide accessibility consulting services to smaller and medium to mid-sized organizations. I'm also a Rotarian at Rotary Club of Bangalore, Kalyan Nagar, and I also serve on the boards of a few non-profit organizations. So accessibility happens to be both my profession and passion, where something very close to my heart. Lives in Bangalore with my wife and 2 kids. Pleasure to be here, Saujanya.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for joining us and its inspiring journey. Thank you for sharing all that with us too. Also with us, audience, today in this session, Mr. Pavitran Ayala, who has been instrumental in driving digital transformation in various verticals like petrochemicals, e-commerce, pharma, in 25 years of his career span. He is currently heading digital IT services at Utthunga, where he leads a team of 1,000 engineers. Welcome, Mr. Pavitran.
Yeah, thank you, Sojana. It's
Yeah.
pleasure to be part of this panel today.
Yeah, great. Thank you, sir. Very, very great to have you both here on this. So, with these two industry veterans in this session today, we will be able to navigate through all the potential scenarios encompassing significant challenges in delivering accessible and inclusive products and services, particularly in pharma. Today's session explores how technology, sustainability, and inclusivity can work together to create accessible products and services in the complex world of pharmaceutical industry. We'll discuss how Industry 4.0 technologies can support the goals of sustainable development and foster inclusivity both internally and externally. Audience, please feel free to post your questions in the comment section and we will be happy to address them all in the end of this session. On that note, Mr. Srinivasu, my first question is to you, sir. What does accessibility mean in the realm of pharma, and why is it crucial in today's world?
Sure. So now first let's talk a little bit about what the accessibility means about. Accessibility, firstly, it is not a rocket science. Accessibility is all about ensuring products, services, or built environments, or any gadgets or devices, because today we have a lot of things, including the Internet of Things and smart machines, washing machines, quite a lot of things for our day-to-day life as well. So it is at the same time we have about 700 million plus people with different kind of disabilities across the world as per WHO. Like in the United States, people will generally say that one in four people happens to be have some disability or the other, right? So it is absolutely essential that all the products, services, infrastructure, or anything has to be usable, and people should be able to use it independently regardless of their disability, right? So, and it definitely applies to pharma industry as well. because healthcare is one thing, and pharmaceutical products and services are kind of become, whether which is even if we call it as an unfortunate thing or whatever, but it is become a daily routine thing in the lives of people. Because if you talk to anybody, at least 2 in 10, rather actually 8 in 10 people will say that I have diabetes, or I have something else, or I use medication for the XYZ thing, right? So, but unfortunately, it has become a part of our life, pharmaceutical things. So, as I, and in the case of people with disabilities, it is even more important, because due to in some section of people with disabilities, even due to disability, they are advised to be used a lot of medication and kind of things. Like in this scenario, like people will actually use a variety of medicines every day, and packaging and labeling has to be inclusive, right? Not just about having labels in braille and to aid the people with vision impairment, right? It is also important how you will actually make the whole information accessible, because sometimes they also need to know what is the expiry date, and what is this medicine actually meant for, and what are the kind of things that are included in this medicine, right? So it is actually important to have some kind of a QR code. By scanning QR code, people should be able to fetch the information, full information, and obtain it. So that is about the perceiving information on the medicines. At the same time, packaging itself has to be usable. What if somebody have some problem with their hands, right? Or mobility limitations, right? So even the bottles like syrups, and if the bottles are expected to be openable with ease, right? So that for somebody has got the limited mobility challenges kind of thing, they should be able to use the medicines independently. Because there are certain situations, like if we actually go back to the example of COVID, where people are actually quarantined and nobody will be around to assist them, and they are supposed to take their medicines on their own. And if handling of medicines is not easy for them, then it actually becomes a problem. And because they're also required to check their temperature and so on, right? So if your thermometer is not accessible and it doesn't provide information in accessible format, it is going to be a challenge, right? And there are a lot of examples. And not only while we are talking about these consumers for in the farm who actually consume the medicines and all of that, it is also essential your pharmaceutical factories make their digital platforms, the internal softwares or research applications accessible, and also the infrastructure, the factories itself made accessible, so that you can actually generate the employment. Because today a lot of people are with disabilities are employable. We are not in the era of welfare model today. People are educated, people are capable of doing a lot of things, right? So but due to the barriers that are exist in terms of infrastructure or software that is available in companies, a lot of people with disabilities are not able to be get employment, right? So it is essential we make our internal systems, our laboratories also make accessible for people with disabilities. um, how does that sound, Saujanya?
Perfect, perfect, sir. That's absolutely, that completely makes sense. While it's crucial, and that it guarantees the healthcare reaches every segment of the society. That should be the core thought process behind it. So, absolutely makes sense. On that note, my next question is to Mr. Pavitran. How do you think technology can improve inclusivity in accessing pharmaceutical products and services?
Yeah, so I think Srinivas has given a very good perspective on accessibility and inclusion. So we all understand, the technology plays a pivotal role in transformation of consumer experience or business models, or even transforming the sustainability, right? So especially the emerging technologies offers a unique perspective of these problems, promoting accessibility and sustainability. So, if at all we wanted to build equitable societies, accessibility, sustainability, inclusion plays a important role. So maybe I'll give you one, what I recently come across. Right, recently I read 2 3 months back in a newspaper when one child, along with his her younger brother, uh, was at home when parents were out. A lot of monkeys came into their house, so she was clueless how to protect herself or take care of the house and her brother. So immediately, she asked Alexa to make a sound like a dog, like bark like a dog. So all these monkeys, learning there is a dog or dogs in the home, or they left the place. So that is a beautiful example of accessibility, like a child with maybe studying seventh or eighth standard, using the technology like conversational assistance, and addressing her necessity on an immediate basis. So accessibility, availability is definitely driven by technology. So when you come back to the pharma world, right, where FDA or agencies like FDAs plays a crucial role for making these pharma products, services more safe, more accessible, available. So again here, like when FDA gives guidelines on clinical trials, especially covering all diverse people or platforms, and also making the medicines, drugs affordable, and also the medicines like more personalized with the right labeling for everyone. So all these things are definitely driven by technology. So technology is directly and indirectly contributing, and there are many innovative thoughts are coming, and companies like Utthunga are building technologies, keeping these parameters like accessibility, sustainability in mind. A lot of digital platforms supporting everyone, so that everyone has access to technology, and also democratizing the technology. And also number of mobile apps are developed for supporting, uh, bringing inclusiveness into the system. So technology plays an important role, and I'm sure we'll see more and more innovations, while leaders like Srinivas, guiding, technology companies through his consulting. I'm sure we build more solutions which are going to encourage accessibility and inclusiveness in the society. Yeah.
Great, sir. Perfect examples. COVID has actually opened the gates for a lot of accessibility related challenges that we had before, but there is so much more that can be achieved now. And technology can surely play a pivotal role in promoting inclusivity, accessibility, everything that we just discussed. Wonderful, wonderful. So, on that note, now my next question is to Mr. Srinivasu. So, can designing for accessibility contribute to achieving sustainable development goals, especially in realm of pharma again?
Absolutely, you made a very valid point, Saujanya. So when you actually start thinking about design, accessible design, or accessibility first approach, it will actually make the products and services more usable to everyone, right? If you look at few years ago, right, software companies used to take the approach of mobile first approach. That has actually resulted to make their desktop applications, the web applications, more user friendly and more clean and neat, right? Because when they talk taking the approach of mobile first, they are so expected to make sure it actually looks neat and easy layouts, and very easy to use on smaller screens. So that has resulted to for them to start thinking of having the easy user interfaces on the web applications and desktop applications as well. So similarly, when we actually start thinking about the accessible design for the devices that we use for in the pharma area, like you will have some certain things to take the medicine, like a x quantity of draw syrup, right? So how would a person with vision impairment would actually know where is 100 ml, where is 10 ml, where is 5 ml, where is 15 ml, right? So if you actually add a tactile to your knob, then it would actually become easy for them. So similarly, if you, for anything that you actually think from that direction, it becomes more easier, right? And like Mr. Pavitran has mentioned about the clinical trials, it is important you actually include people with disabilities as well into the clinical trials, because the needs of people with disabilities could also vary from other users. So you also need to take into account of needs of this section of people with people as well. So diverse set of users, having diverse set of users in clinical trials is a key and very important thing. And coming back to your thing about accessible design, it definitely becomes so sustainable, and it actually solves a lot of usability problems for all of the mainstream users. Like if we think of ramps in shopping complexes, okay, though although they are actually meant for people who are on the wheelchair to have easily access the complex, but if you look at today, almost everybody, not just people who are on the wheelchairs or pregnant women or elderly people, and most people prefer to use the ramps versus the staircases. And in fact, one of the challenge with most of the staircases is the, since the edges are not painted with the different colors in most places, even for people who are people with low vision and all, it would be difficult to notice where the stairs are. So, but whereas the ramp, although people with low vision can easily walk and climb the stairs, it will become much more easier to use the ramp, right? So similarly, all of these use cases, when since they are applied to multiple people and mainstreaming things, right? So it actually any approach that we take for accessibility in the pharma industry, like making our medical devices accessible, even medical reporting softwares accessible, or report templates itself accessible, medicines itself accessible, injections. One of the things, people need to take this insulin and all that. If those insulin pencils or whatever devices that they need to be, if they become more accessible and usable, it actually works for everybody else.
Awesome. Awesome. That makes sense, sir. So basically, what we are trying to say is by incorporating accessibility early in design process itself, which
Absolutely.
can ensure these products and services meet the right people. Inclusivity also is covered, and all these goals are efficiently achieved. Basically, so that makes great sense. Great sense. So, Mr. Pavitran, then how can improving accessibility in pharmaceuticals help meet SDGs per se?
So, if you look at the UN's 17 SDGs, to build a sustainable future by 2030, covers or most of or some of these SDGs, like covers accessibility and inclusion. So that is, accessibility and inclusion is integral part of these SDGs. Unless we have this sustainable future, unless we cover everyone in this development, it is difficult for us to grow as an ecosystem. We cannot have part of a community on the growth path, and the other side not on the growth path, is definitely going to impact the overall um, sustainable development. So if you look at the technology or industry 4.0, uh, how it is driving SDGs, right? So out of the 17 SDGs, most of them are driven by the technologies. If you see the industry 4.0, if you take a step back and see industry 2 or 3 versus 4, you can see number of cases, use cases from 4.0 impacting the humans, everyone, like, bringing the inclusion, unlike, industry 4, 3 or 2, because the digitalization, the digital transformation is touching every human, right? The way we are using mobiles today, the way we are using technology today, the way we are using AI/ML today is transforming the way we address the problems, you know and some of them are directly, improving the sustainability across the fields. So, especially companies like Utthunga, when we are working with the global, industrial, automation OEMs, we had great opportunity to innovate, co-innovate, number of use cases across, these SDGs. It could be digital manufacturing or paperless manufacturing or generative AI, solutions to empower the operators, empower the, quality teams, or empower the manufacturing, workforce. So when you consider the technology industry 4.0, right, we transform the way we are doing the operations today, the shop floor operations. We are moving slowly from, automation to autonomous, shop floor operation, or, landscape. So everywhere technology is playing an important role. And when you look at pharmaceutical industry, like, earlier when I was talking, I mentioned about affordable drugs, or, availability of these drugs. So definitely that is possible with the technology. Today, traditionally, if you see, drug development takes, one particular drug development, takes maybe 10 years. With the technology like AI/ML, that can be reduced with, you know lot of algorithms, models building around this, drug discovery. So that will definitely reduce the failure rate of this drug discovery, and also, reduce the lead time. So the availability and accessibility to medicines are, improved in the society. And also helps us to build generic drugs, that would make everyone afford this. Otherwise, if you go and you wanted to purchase branded drugs, it may not be possible for everyone. So when we go with the generic drugs, like, CDMOs or whatever we are building, they would make these medicines available for everyone. And also, as Mr. Sinu also mentioned, the packaging. So how do we really package these medicines? Keeping different scenarios in mind, and how do we make them available to everyone, and how they can independently use these medicines without anyone's support. So definitely that would not happen overnight, but that's what something, companies like Utthunga consistently, co-creating along with our customers, over a period of time, so that we cover, everyone. We bring that inclusiveness into the society. Thus, we are, all of us together helping, everyone to achieve this SDGs by 2030. So that's what, the role what technology industry 4.0 companies like Utthunga are playing to achieve SDGs. Saujanya.
Great, sir. Very well said. Very well said. So basically, to summarize what you and Mr. Srinivasu has said till now, basically by integrating accessibility from the start and leveraging modern technologies, we can ensure that the pharmaceutical industry not only serves all individuals but also contributes to achieving these global sustainable
Yeah.
goals, right? And basically it aligns with all these SDGs like good health and reduced inequalities, or improving education and patient engagement through AR VR. So all these technologies are combined together and achieving these SDGs.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Very great to know. Sir, any closing comments from you, Mr. Srinivasu?
Yeah, sure. While you guys are talking about SDGs, it came to my mind that by incorporating inclusion and accessibility, not only you'll actually align to this SDGs, but you'll also contribute to um, several countries' commitment to the United Nations uh, Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which is called UNCRPD, which actually promotes accessibility and inclusion to a greater extent, right? So, and it is, as I said in my opening remarks, accessibility is not a rocket science. If you have the willingness, and if you start thinking about you want your products and services to be usable to all users, you will definitely achieve the journey of accessibility. Um, I think this is a great opportunity for me to actually have a conversation in this accessibility in the pharma industry, um, maybe manufacturing or the otherwise, right? It's a pleasure moment for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Pavitran, sir, do you have any take on this? Anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, you want to quickly check if there are any questions,
Yeah, sure.
Saujanya?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have 5 minutes left. So, yes, it makes sense for us to take questions from the audience. Audience, if you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer them for you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Audience, in case you come up with any questions later you still want to ask, even after the session, you're free to post them in the comment section, because it will be here and we can always get back to you with the relevant answers. So please feel free to post your questions below this video, even after the session. This is totally doable. So then that's a great show till now.
I see one question.
Yeah. Okay, I just got one. Yes, that's right. So, how can industries ensure that accessibility is integrated into design and production processes? And what competitive advantages will be lost if they fail to prioritize accessibility in their products and services? That's a great question.
Sure. That's a very good question.
Yes.
So, um, you need to figure out what accessibility are we talking about. You can actually categorize them into few things. One is about making process of your manufacturing kind of things, and second is about accessibility of your internal softwares, your infrastructure. So when you actually do all of this, right, and you can actually, there are in fact, if you actually go to the Google and ask for business case for accessibility, there are variety of things which include the social benefits. By making your products and services accessible, you will actually stand out in your industry, that you are actually a responsible business. You're one of the responsible business, and you care for all segments of people, right? And there will also be benefit from the business perspective, the financial benefit. Once you make your products accessible, um, you will actually end up increasing in your customer base. Like, let's actually, if we take the example of the e-commerce portals, right? um, there are variety of e-commerce websites, but if you look at all of them, and if you compare, most of the people with disabilities or even otherwise will actually get attracted to Amazon, for the reason that it actually is more usable and quite accessible to users. While there are offers and all in the other platforms as well, but Amazon has become a leader because globally they actually take care for the accessibility. So similarly, you can actually stand out in your industry, that who care for the entire segment of people. And also, by making your once you actually make your products and services accessible, you will actually see more people buy in, even not just people with disabilities. When the device that is available for taking insulin is more usable, the people without disabilities will also end up buying more of them.
Right, right. Absolutely. That made sense, sir. So, yes, so we have come to almost the end of the show, and I hope all the audience they got all the insights they were looking for. So I would like to thank our speakers, our guests, our audience, whoever are present here today. Thank you so much. Please feel free to write more, ask us more questions. You can write to us at contact@utthunga.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
It
Thank
has
you.
been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.